Why, hello there, Trailblazers fans. Welcome into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with you, hopefully sounding a little bit better than the pregame show where I had to call in on the telephone lines. Old school. Got a text message from friend of the show, Seth Hoyland, who was like, you can add hosting radio underwater to your resume. That's what it sounds like right now. All right. Well, we tried. We tried, Seth. We tried. Sometimes, though, technology just doesn't want to work with you, and it wasn't working with us today. But you know what? We got through it. We got to show up on the air, and you know what? The Blazers today, kind of the same. They came in, things didn't work out the way they wanted, but they still showed up. They put a good showing together. They did fall in this one, 137 to 131 to the Dallas Mavericks, but it's a game that I think you can be pretty pleased with what you saw because the Blazers, they fought in this one. There was a lot against him. Anthony Simons in foul trouble. Then he had the ridiculous third quarter. Then he fouls out 2 seconds into the fourth. And it's like, oh no, what do we do? And they found a way to keep it close. And it really was close until about the last 60 seconds of this game. So again, I give the Blazers a ton of credit for getting in there, playing hard, and almost grabbing a victory from the Dallas Mavericks, which would have been a very, very big win for your Portland Trailblazers. Instead, it was a 131 victory for Dallas. If you want to join in on the conversation with us today, you can message me on social at Chris J. Burkhardt, or you can go to youtube.com where Daniel says, yo, and I say, yo, right back to Daniel. You can jump in on there, give us your thoughts, concerns, questions. Or, of course, 503-248-0620 is that telephone number. Any callers on the line, stay there. I'll get to you here shortly. But let's look at this box score in this one. The Blazers led 29 to 25 after the first quarter. In the second quarter, it was a 36-29 lead for the Mavericks in that quarter alone. Both teams dropped 39 in the third, and then it was 37-34 in favor of the Dallas Mavericks in the fourth quarter. And again, it's just, man, both teams almost dropping 40 in one quarter. Was any defense played tonight? I mean, usually the Blazers defense is pretty spot on, has been all year long, right? But the Mavericks end up going 48 of 87 overall, shoot 55% from the floor. And so the Blazers needed the offense to show up. Now, that has been hit and miss throughout this season already. You needed the offense to show up, and tonight the offense absolutely did. 49 of 84 from the floor, 58%, 18 of 31 from beyond the arc. And so you start to sit there and you're like, why though? Well, why did they lose then? If the offense was showing up in the turnovers were terrible. They had 21 turnovers in this one, and it was a lot of them. It was just like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Can we stop, please? Please. I like everyone working hard, but can we stop with the bounce passes into the 7-foot center? Like that one's not doing it for me. Those ones are turned into turnovers almost every single time. A couple times where we're just trying to force it into windows that weren't open, and it led to Dallas Maverick buckets on the other end, right? So you got to figure that one out because you're not going to get a lot done if you're turning over the ball. Fast break points, Dallas 28, Portland 17, and again, a lot of those fast break points coming off those points off turnovers, right? It's just getting the ball, getting out in transition, going. Got to stop them. Got to stop them. The points off turnovers in total 33 for Dallas, 21 for Portland. That's a 12-point difference, plus 12 in a game that was decided by 6 points. Those turnovers came to bite you in the rear end. Taking a look individually how things played out. Jeremy Grant had 14 points in this one, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 17 points from Tumani Kamara on 5 of 7 from beyond the arc. You love to see that from him. He also had 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal. 18 points from DeAndre Ayton to go with 7 rebounds. 22 points from Shaden Sharp. 27 from Anthony Simons, 24 of which came in the third quarter alone. Not bad at all. You got 3 points at halftime, and then you dropped 24 in the third quarter to keep this team in it. He was 9 of 11 from the floor, 6 of 8 from beyond the arc in this one. He also had 5 assists, but again, he fouled out 2 seconds into the fourth, and the Blazers still managed to keep things going. So again, liked what the team did offensively. Denny Avdia, 21 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. He did have a steal in there as well. He was trying to be the engine for this bench unit, doing everything he could. And you also had 9 points from Delano Ban. Denny Avdia, again, another solid game, another 20-point performance for him. On the Dallas side of things, PJ Washington had 14 points. Quentin Grimes had 28, 19 from Daniel Gafford. Luka Doncic had 38 points, 7 rebounds, 13 assists. Luka just goes and does Luka things. Jaden Hardy had 13, and then Spencer Dinwiddie had 20 points off the bench. I don't know what that translates into cryptocurrency and how that will play into his contract, but hey, good performance for him off the bench. But once again, Blazers fall 137 to 131. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and you'll jump in on the chat right then and there. But let's head out to the phones right now where Brian in Sherwood has been waiting patiently. Brian, welcome into the fifth quarter. The floor is yours.
All right. Thanks, guys. I was just calling because I was curious to know your thoughts on the brand new rule the refs made up today. If you're fouled on offense, you just throw a stiff arm into your opponent.
Well, unfortunately, Brian, you cut off there for a second, but I'm still going to answer your question, and you're back with us. That's good. But first off, I mean there was a foul on Avdia, right? He kind of grabbed the arm, but I'm with you because the after effect, right? The extra push, like that was totally ignored. I know on the radio broadcast they're talking like, do you call it technical for that? What's this? What's that? I'm like, that one foul doesn't mean that you get to foul back, right?
Exactly. And you can't review a foul that wasn't called by reviewing a foul that was called. I don't think you can do that.
You know, Brian, what they need to do is they need to implement like the NFL rule where like pass interference on the defense, but the other flag holding on the offense, penalties offset, replay down. Exactly. So in that situation, after review, both players ended up fouling each other. It will remain Dallas ball inbounding from the side.
Exactly. We got the short end of that one. So I want our guys to do that. If you get a foul, just shove a stiff arm into the opponent and make them call that instead.
Hey, I get what you're laying down, Brian, because if you hear the whistle and you know it's going to be a foul on the other guy, just give him a little elbow, give him a little love, send a message, right? Because you're not going to get in trouble. Foul's already called.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I love it. Hey, Brian, I appreciate the call, man.
All right, thank you.
Hey, I love it. Brian's spot on, though, as we sit here and joke and have fun with it, because that was the reaction as that one went down. We're like, okay, so we're just going to ignore the fact that Spencer Dinwiddie gave a little forearm shiver, right? A little extra shove. Then they always do that mean mug as if, like, that one always gets me, and that helps get the call, too. And they always get that mug where it's like the eyes half closed and the nose scrunched. Come on. Like it was the worst, most egregious foul of all time. I'm like, all Denny did was he got a little hook on your arm. But to be fair, I mean, you dribble and your arm was out, kind of pushing into his chest. Sometimes I get confused as to what they're actually allowed to do because, sometimes the calls are inconsistent. But I'm with you, Brian. I get what you're laying down. The new made-up rule: you could throw forearms, but as long as you were fouled first, it's okay. It's okay. Imagine if the NBA had like hockey rules, like. Spencer Dinwiddie threw a forearm. He needs to go 2 minutes into the penalty box, and now the Blazers get a 5-on-4 advantage for the next 2 minutes. Oh, man, that'd be kind of fun, too. But, hey, offsetting penalties, that's a way to fix that, Brian. If you want to join in on the chat, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and join us there, where Jake is asking any news on Klingon and Williams. Klingon is still on that normal timeline. I think he'd be reevaluated in 2 weeks. I've been hearing some people say that the more likely timeline with that injury probably puts him back on the floor at the beginning of the year. There is no reason to rush that one back. You want to make sure that he gets the knee ready to go. Don't want any structural damage there. He was walking around today at the game very well. And I've sprained the MCL before. That one is. You get to a point where you got to be careful. You don't want to do more damage, but man, the pain management part sucks because all you got to do is do the littlest tweak, and it's enough to just make your knee want to cripple, man. So that's where you're at with that. No long-term worries on Klingon, though. He'll be back. As for Williams, you got to go through that concussion protocol. I mean, a week seems to be pretty standard with that. So I think there's probably a high probability he's back Tuesday. if not the game after that. Because what you have Tuesday and then you have Wednesday, Thursday off, so that one makes sense. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the life of an athlete, but I feel bad. Like, oh yeah, I've done the whole MCL thing like Donovan. I've also had a concussion like Williams, and I don't know if anyone's had a concussion before. Those suck. Those are not fun, and they take a minute to just get back. It's not like you're doing injury management so much, and then you're worrying about getting hurt again. It's just like it being in an NBA arena, even man, just the noises and the lights and stuff. It's enough to just give you a splitting headache. I remember when I got my concussion, like I couldn't even run and do conditioning because just the jogging motion was enough to just get and it did. It took about a week and a half for that to go away. So I would say Robert's probably looking at Tuesday. Next game makes a lot of sense because you're looking at about a week, if not the end of the week, Jake. But yeah, definitely not a long term thing. Just got to let that one settle down. And Sean, Shaden's so good, but he shows no emotion or passion. Does he have what it takes to maximize his potential? Yes, absolutely, he does. I get what you're saying. He is very, one level, right? And I think you can get away with that. You don't necessarily have to be a guy who's just blowing up and vibrant all the time. Like he has a passion to be good. He just kind of lets his game do the talking, and I like that about him. I actually do, and I think you're seeing that right now because he's starting to round into that form, Sean. And I like Shaden a lot. I like him a lot, and I hope he continues to grow. All right, if you're on hold, stay there. We'll get to you here in just a little bit, but we'll take a break here on the show on the fifth quarter. If you want to join the show, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. Chris J. Burkhart's the name on social, and of course, YouTube.com. Go in there and join the chat as well. When we come back, though, we'll hit you with our shot of the night and our drive of the night. Still got Coach's Corner coming up as well, and I'll hand out a game ball before it's all said and done. Chris Burkhardt here with you. The show rolls on after the break right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
Avi will bring it up. Gets the screen, dribbles right, hesitates and attacks. He's bumped, he's fouled, he puts it up and in! Danny Avi will have a chance to tie the game! And the loose ball is grabbed by Jeremy Grant. Here's Grant on the other end, slides into Simons, open three on the way. Yes! 22 in the third for Anthony Simons. Blazers lead 88-87.
Welcome back into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with you, joined by the man, Brendan Slaughter, and a little less sweating going on now that I showed up here, right, Brendan?
Oh, yeah. You know, we always find a way, Chris, and we found a way today. It was an adventure, but, you know, me and you, we've been on some adventures together.
What's that quote that Ian Malcolm says in Jurassic Park? Radio finds a way.
It does. It really does.
Maybe that's not the quote. I think it was life finds a way, but still. Life, it finds a way. Yeah, we found a way. Hey, it is kind of crazy when you think about it. I know it's not ideal to host a radio show from the telephone, but man, the technology and the ability to just grab a phone back. Hey, I'm gonna call in. I'm gonna call the phone line. I had to dial 503-248-0620 to host the radio show, but we're gonna get on air, man. We're gonna get on air, and that is the number you can call right now if you want to get on air in the fifth quarter. You can also go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and get in on the chat there. But we'll head out to Portland, right here, our own hometown, where Sam is waiting to join in. Sam, welcome into the fifth quarter.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course. What do you got for us tonight?
So I'm curious of your opinions of Shaden Sharp.
Mhm.
I feel like the improvement I've seen from last season to kind of this season to going back to his rookie year, like the numbers have steadily gone up, but I'm just curious to know, like, what do you guys think he has to do to kind of take things to that next level where we hope he can get to?
Well, Sam, that's a good question, and I agree with you. I like the things I've seen. You've seen that steady improvement. I think he's being more aggressive with the shot. I know this sounds weird. I hope you get what I'm laying down here, but I think for Shaden to take the next step, he needs to realize just how good he is. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are people, I'm sure everyone's worked with them, who are like really, really talented, but just don't understand how talented they are sometimes. I think when he lets that click and realizes that he can be the guy and he doesn't have to defer and find Ant, he doesn't have to defer and find Jeremy. And granted, in the long run, I think moving off of some of the vets and truly giving the keys to the young guys will allow that. But when you clear the runway for Shea and let him be great and just let him take over, I think that is when the switch truly flips and he goes from good to great.
100%, yeah.
See,
Like,
we're on the same page. I like that, Sam.
he's so, to me, it's just, he comes across so effortless and just like, it reminds me of Brandon Roy.
Yeah, I get that, and that's good. And B. Roy was, I mean, he was nicknamed the Natural for a reason because everything came naturally, right? And if you listen to Coach Billups in a lot of these post-game pressers, I mean, throughout this year, Sam, they've slowly started to run more of the offense through Shaden, and even Coach has been like, he just needs to be confident enough to know that, like, he can take all those shots. Like, he doesn't have to defer first. Just go. Don't worry about hurting feelings. Just go be good. And you saw it even tonight.
Yeah.
I thought there was a couple times where, like, he was taking the shot and he missed the shot. Like, there was one, he had like a little turnaround jumper in the key that he missed. But I was watching that and I'm like, I was actually glad he took that shot because I feel like Shaden, maybe even earlier in the season or last year for sure, prior to injuries and not playing, would see that opportunity and then pass out of it. So I like the fact that he's starting to take
Exactly.
some of those shots that he wouldn't normally take because he's getting that confidence. And so I think it's a slow build, but I'm very confident, Sam, that he will take that jump because I love what I see from him. I've liked what I saw from him coming in to the Blazers as a rookie as well. But it's just all about getting that mental spot to click with the talent because the talent is there without question.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
All right. Appreciate the call, Sam. You're always welcome back on the fifth quarter, my man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, and Sam is asking questions about Shea because Sean asked it in the chat too, and he just mentioned as well. Sean just commented, if Shaden played with the same confidence that DB Hooper, does Shaden could be elite. And that's right. That Sean, I'm so glad you said that out loud because Delano Banton is not not the most talented player on the roster, right? I almost said not talented, and that's a flat out lie. He's definitely talented, but he's not the most talented man on the roster. Players don't have to, or teams don't have to game plan for him necessarily. But what gets by is he plays with an unmatched confidence, right? Like he is going to get the ball. I'm going to score. You're not going to stop me. He plays with that mentality, right? And that mentality allows him to go out there and have great games, right? So when Shea can get that same mentality, I mean, he grew up in an era, Shaden Sharp, watching Kobe, right? And what do all those guys say about, Mamba mentality, right? Mamba mentality. Well, the Mamba mentality was built off of MJ, and MJ was confident that he could walk into any room and be the best, no matter what it was. I've never hosted radio before. I'm going to go and I'm going to be the best damn radio host you ever heard because I'm that confident, right? And that confidence will lead to success in the long run. And Delano Banton is making a living right now off of that unmatched confidence. Maybe share a little bit of it with Shea. And I'm not saying Shea lacks confidence, but it does take a certain mentality to just go out there and just play with the reckless abandon, football players like to say, right? And just go out there and hoop. Shea just needs to go hoop. I've said this about Scoot too. When you get to a point where you stop thinking and you just start doing, then the autopilot is a good thing. Good thing. And I'm not saying like Kobe and MJ didn't stop and think. It's just the game was so effortless and their confidence was so high that they just did, and they just took over. I'm confident Shea can get there. I would like to see him continue to build on my early comp because everyone always, he's the Maple Jordan, right? And Kobe is such an easy comp because everyone wants everyone to be Kobe. But Shea plays a very similar game to Tracy McGrady to me. Like he reminds me of a second year, third year Tracy McGrady. Now, if he could build into the all-star face of a franchise that T-Mac was, I'm down with that. You don't have to go be B. Roy or MJ. Let's go be Shea, and you build yourself around the way T-Mac played, because T-Mac, he had the athleticism, right? And then once the athleticism and the confidence matched together, boy howdy. Like when he went to Orlando, things took over, and that guy just became an absolute stud. I think Shea can do the same thing. All right, time now to head to Victor in Turkey. Victor, you had to be full of emotion tonight. You had the low of your boy Ant Simons having a bad first half. Then you had the emotional roller coaster of the absolute high of Anthony Simons having a 24-point third quarter to match one of my favorite all-time Blazers. I know this is weird, but I loved Martell Webster, guys. He had just such a good-looking jump shot. And then you had the low of him fouling out in the fourth. But overall, Victor, pretty good day for your man Ant Simon, right?
Yes, sir, yes. This game, the Mavericks, they stole it, And the way they stole it, well, obviously with the Doncic, 36 points, obvious. But the thing is, if you look at how the Blazers played into the hand of Mavericks, the Blazers really didn't have they couldn't capitalize on the center position. Ayton wasn't in the game for a long time. I think he wasn't even in the game in the fourth quarter. He was on the bench for a lot of times. And the Blazers playing the small balls. And, the Doncic got his ways, nobody could block him or something. But I don't know. They could do a better job. I think that was the execution. I don't think that. Believe me, I'm not a stupid guy. The coaches, all those 3-4 coaches, sitting on the background, assistant coaches, all of that. I'm sure they're very smart, but maybe smarter than me. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, the thing is how to execute this. And when you have the 8 on the bench and we don't have, like a center position, and I don't know about how many points in the paint they made, or whatever 3 points they made. The execution was a flaw. It was a flaw because they could have won this game.
Well,
and you said about the.
Well, I gotta tell you, Victor. I mean, it's hard to put Ayton on the floor. He was in foul trouble. He had 5 personal fouls. That's why they had to pull him out to not get him into get his 6th foul, so they could use him at any point during the fourth quarter. He still went out there and got 31 minutes. And the unfortunate part is right now you have no other big. Robert Williams dealing with concussion protocol, Donovan Clingan dealing with the MCL injury, and Dwap Reith is not a center. I mean, he plays center for you, but he's only 6'8", 6'9". Like, he's not a big in the sense of the word, especially defensively. So you're handicapped there. So you have to go and you play your minutes of Jabari Walker and Denny Avdia at small ball center. But when the one big center that you have that can play in the paint and play a little bit of defense is in foul trouble, you don't have a lot of options.
Yes, you're right, man. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but they could have won this game, If
they could have.
If the Ant didn't have foul trouble, they could have won the game.
Well, I'm with you there. I think they could have if Tumani Kamara didn't get the goaltending on the go-ahead bucket. Things could have been different. But yeah, I mean, you're not completely wrong. I do got to tell you. I mean, but when Ayton is in foul trouble and you can't put your big out there, it does impact the game a little bit when you don't have that depth anymore. And hopefully that changes next week and Robert Williams can come back from the concussion early in the week and maybe play in that game Tuesday. And of course, Clingan can come back as well. But you'll get there. As Iron Rods kind of laughs, says so much for the logjam at center. Yeah, that sucks when everyone gets hurt, right? And then you're down just to DeAndre Ayton, man. And kudos to guys like Denny Avdia, who's had to play that position here a little bit. Jabari Walker, who's been playing that position, both obviously undersized, but they're getting thrown into action. And like I said, Dwap Reith is not going to help you ton defensively. He's there to space the floor offensively, just a little bit of a different game. But yeah, hopefully Williams can come back in the next handful of games here. Concussion, like I said, that's no small potatoes. It's not fun to deal with. All right, going to take a quick break here on the 5th quarter. When we come back, time for the Coach's Corner. We'll head back down to Moda, hear what Coach Billups had to say following this game against the Mavericks. We'll hand out our game balls, and then we'll put a bow on this one and go rest up. Y'all got to wake up and go to work in the morning, right? We all do. I'm tired, okay? It's been a long day. I woke up in Bend this morning. Ugh.
Was there snow?
There was not, but it was foggy all the way until I got on the west side of Mount Hood. It was foggy all the way up, man. A little bit of freezing fog. And
it looks pretty foggy out there tonight too, Chris. I don't know if you looked at the window yet.
It's foggy.
Listen, get home safe.
Yes, it's foggy. Oh, it was definitely freezing fog. The brakes locked up on me going through Madras, but I knew it. I could see the ice, and then I got stuck behind the de-icer, which I wasn't really complaining that I was driving slow behind the de-icer. But
the important thing is you made it, Chris. No issues, no car troubles.
I could have just stayed in Bend if I would have known I was going to have to host the pregame show from the phone.
Could have just called you live from Bend, buddy.
Just called me live from Bend, man. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with plenty more here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back into the fifth quarter. Time now to head to the coach's corner. Here's what Coach Billups had to say following this 137-131 loss to the Mavericks.
Was for 33 points, which is something you guys didn't do the other night against Sacramento.
Yeah, I mean, you plug one hole, with the rebounding, and we did an awesome job with that. And then, the other hole was just, they had 33 points off of our turnovers, which is, against any team. It doesn't even have to be a really good team. Against any team, that's a huge, huge number. It's tough to overcome that, But man, we shot the heck out of it today. 58% from three. You score 131 points, you should win that game, But it was tough to get a stop.
Talk about what the energy of that game was like and what it was like being a part of it for you on the sidelines, especially in the second half when there was that much shot making going on.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. I mean, you talk about just the back and forth. I mean, the shot making was incredible in the game. The play making as well was incredible. You hinging on, I mean, the goal 10 play with Tumani was a huge play, man. A huge play, but we had 2 goal 10s in the game. You start thinking about those little small things. And just how important possessions are, But I thought it was really, we were 2 different teams tonight. We start off the game and we just weren't very aggressive, And when we're at our best, we're aggressive. And we just can't do that.
How do you feel like you did as a team defending Doncic? And particularly in the second half. It seemed like first half you kind of got going. Second half it seems like you guys were, no one slows them down, but kind of slowed them down.
Yeah, I thought we did okay. He is 36 and 13. It's almost like an average game for him, dang near. But he's just that good. You play him single coverage, he can dominate the coverage. He can dominate the player. You start trapping them, they don't put a player on the court that can't shoot, with the exception of their centers, who are all really good rollers, and secondary playmakers. So they put you in some tough spots, to be able to try to guard them. And he's obviously a willing passer, and even when you blitz him, he's bigger than both guys that you're blitzing with. So he can just jump up and see the whole court, So it's a tough spot. He's a special player, man.
Talked before about there being ways that you're willing to lose and ways that you're not willing to lose. Is it safe to say this is one that you're willing to live with?
Absolutely. I mean, we lay it on the line and give it all we have. We'll live with the results any day. And I thought we definitely did that. Everybody that played, they laid it on the line out there. They gave it all they had.
And there you hear Coach Billups. And the only thing I didn't like about that press conference was just once again started. We came out flat and weren't focused, and that's That's the coach job. Got to get your team focused. You cannot continue to have that as, it didn't come out focused, Okay, why is the reason that you're not focused? And fix that and get them focused. You should be focused before the game starts, right? That's the only thing in that presser. I don't like that answer. Don't like that answer. I mean, even if it's true, fix it though. Like there's a reason why. Let's figure out why. Now another comment here on the YouTube chat. Sean asked, speaking of centers, if Ayton's contract isn't easily tradable and he has a chance to stay with Portland, what type of money would be reasonable for Ayton to earn with his next contract? What is Ayton's worth? And I think that's a really good question, Sean. I think open market, I think Ayton is probably, honestly, 20 to 25 mil. And before everyone goes, whoa, that's a lot of money for DeAndre, it's actually not. So right now, DeAndre Ayton, the average value on his contract is $33 million a year, makes him the 11th highest paid center in the league, which kind of makes sense because I think once you start going on the tiers of centers, he's probably close to that 11, 12, 13th best center in the league. Okay. Joel Embiid, average annual value, $64 million. Whew, yikes. Anthony Davis, 58. Nikola Jokic, 55. Bam Adebayo, 55. Karl Anthony Towns, 55. These guys kind of put themselves in these tiers. It makes sense. Joel Embiid, now the contract he's on right now, the average value is 53. Then the extension kicks in, so 26 to 28, the average value will be 64. But still, a lot of money, right? And Sengun from Houston, 37 mil. Gobert, 36. And you have DeAndre Ayton there currently at 33. And you start to go down the list a little bit. And that's where you get like Isaiah Hartenstein, 29. Nicholas Claxton, 24. Brooke Lopez, 24. Clint Capella, 22. Miles Turner, 20. And I feel like that's the area where I lump in DeAndre Ayton as value as a center. I also think if that's the money you're paying him relative to all those other guys getting a ton of money, you're okay with that. It's when you sit there and you're like, DeAndre Ayton's the highest paid player on the team and he's the number one overall pick, and there's just so much working against him. But I think that's where the value is for DeAndre Ayton. Now, to be clear here, Sean, I'm not saying that's what the Blazers pay him. I'm not saying if you can't trade him, you back up the Brinks truck and you're like, come on, stay here. This is what we're giving you. I do think open market, open value, probably a pay cut, but that $20 to $25 million range makes a lot of sense. Of course, as things continue to climb, he might stay in that 25 to 30 range. I still think that's value is pretty good for what you're getting out of him because he's not a bad player. Not a bad player at all. It's just got to have the right match of roster around that guy. I do like DeAndre Ayton. I hope he never, like if I'm basing a team just off vibes, I hope he never gets traded because I think the guy's entertaining as all can be, and I like that. All right, let's take a final break here on the show. When we come back, we're going to hand out our game balls, put a bow on this one, and then get ready for another matchup as your Blazers. They get tomorrow off, and then they get right back to it against the Clippers on December 3rd. Chris Burkhardt here with you. Brendan Slaughter's on the other side of the glass. We'll be back after the break here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. All right, I can say without question, the game ball, the MVP for the Blazers. It's probably Brendan Slaughter for dealing with all the nonsense today and getting that pregame show on the air.
I appreciate you, Chris. I don't know if I can take a game ball though. There's a lot of good ball on the court tonight.
All right,
I appreciate your little attaboy. You gave me a nice alley oop there. I appreciate you.
You got to give me credit then for knowing how to dial in the phone number.
Yes, no, that
503
it's tricky.
0620 for all you fools. I have it on. It's not even speed dial anymore. Are you old enough to remember when that was a thing?
Yes, like if you pressed 7.
Yeah, you had to like press it and hold it, and it would dial someone.
Oh yeah, that was cool, man.
Oh yeah,
that was kind of cool. We were like, oh yeah, are you like one of the 9 contacts in my speed dial, right? Because you had a limited number.
Yeah. You know what else is kind of funny about that is like, it's funny to me how we still say butt dial when we obviously don't mean butt dial. Like you used to butt dial people because your large rear end would push a button, right? And now you like what happens is you're accidentally scrolling and you put the app, then your big fat thumb accidentally calls someone. You're like, oh, sorry, you got butt dialed. That's not really a thing anymore.
No, it really isn't. And you're right. Now it's just like, how do you? Like you can be sliding in touch screens. Anything's possible, I guess.
Yeah, but
yeah, feel you for sure.
Before we continue to joke, it is game ball time, and I think the game ball in this one has to go to Anthony Simons, despite fouling out. That 24-point third quarter was huge. Kept the Blazers in this one because Dallas was not going to be stopped. They scored almost 40 points in that quarter alone, and they needed a superhuman performance. And I thought Ant provided that in the third quarter. Unfortunately, fouled out. But I like the perseverance. I like the bad first quarter, bad second quarter. The foul trouble kicks in, and then third quarter he gets a chance and explodes. So I'm going to give him a game ball today. Kudos to him. I like that. Sean did chime back in on my DeAndre Ayton talk. I think if he took a friendly contract, Ayton could be good for the Blazers' future. I think our Sean Hyken wrote about this earlier. You can go find his stuff over at the Rose Garden Report, how that I think it makes more sense in the long run to trade Ayton and keep Robert Williams, even though Robert Williams is going to command offers on the market. And I like that because I think Ayton, where it runs tough is at some point if you're going to give him a team-friendly deal, right? Not only does he have to take a pay cut, he probably has to take a role change, right?
Right. Well, I mean, one thing on that, Chris, and if you don't mind if I jump in here on that, is, I've heard a lot, and a lot of people seem to be really hung up on DeAndre Ayton's contract number, right? Like that just what he makes right now, right?
They all are.
And I look at it this way. One, you weren't the ones that gave him that deal. You inherited that deal from Phoenix. So be that as it may. Number 2, when you have to trade away a player like Damian Lillard or needed to, whatever it was, who's on a supermax making $60-some million, you have to aggregate those salaries back. And, looking back to know, hey, like the biggest, they gave away a guy who was making, 60, I think creeping up on 60 million, and brought back DeAndre Ayton as the big anchor of that deal. So, salary caps and stuff, I'm always kind of obsessed with those numbers and whatnot. And I think all considering it's not bad. And I'm curious to see what that team-friendly deal on the horizon.
There is no such thing.
Could potentially be.
There's no team-friendly deal. He's not going to take that. A team-friendly deal for DeAndre Ayton would probably be, give me 15 to 20 mil on a de-escalating contract. Not going to happen. But again, Robert Williams makes more sense in the long run to me, injuries aside, because Robert Williams is a career backup center. That's his role that he's filled in wonderfully, right? And so if you give the keys to Klingon and you have this guy who comes in and knows his role that he played in Boston and has championship pedigree with, right? Like you know what it's like. So I think that makes sense in the long run. Now, if Ayton in the world were crazy enough that, hey, you're going to take 12 mil and come play. Yeah, I love it here. I'll take him. Like I said, vibes alone, I like him. But as you said, contract-wise, there's contract floors. You have to hit your salary floors. You have to do all this stuff. And eventually you're going to get to a point where you're going to give money to Shaden Sharp. Hopefully you get to a point where you want to give money to Scoot Henderson because he's playing well and deserves it, and Donovan Clingan. And then that money that everyone is worried about clinging or Ayton making right now starts getting dispersed out to the players that you need it to be dispersed out to every way. Sean says if they really want to compete, they need to rely on depth, and Williams doesn't offer reliability. The greatest ability is availability. You are right on that one. Absolutely right on that one. So again, I am regurgitating the inside information I have been hearing, and as to why I think that the Robert Williams, the risk reward there, man. There's risk. There's reward, though. Look how good he is when he's on the floor right now. And again, you said reliability and availability. Being on the floor does matter. So there's something to that. You're not wrong, Sean. It's a good take. And Ayton tends to be on the floor a little bit more. His injuries aren't as crippling. No pun intended there to Rob, who's missed a lot of time. But again, the salary number is also a lot larger, and that plays a factor as well. I'm not like I said. I hope he never gets traded because I like his vibes. He's funny. He seems very entertaining. He's creeping up the list of athletes I want to go sit down and have a drink with. I don't think I'll ever touch ET though. Evan Turner's at the top of my athletes. I just want to chill at the bar with and shoot the breeze. Him and Kelsey Plum, put them together. I'll be entertained. I'll be entertained all night long. All night long. All right, that's gonna do it for the fifth quarter. We're gonna head out of here. Brendan's tired of dealing with me. He's ready to go to bed. I don't blame him. But the Blazers, they'll be back at it on Tuesday against the LA Clippers. Final game of the NBA Cup, if I do recall, and whatever that means. Someone has said in our YouTube chat, someone explain it to me. I still need to explain to me. Points differential, you advance, you don't. You're going to get 2 more games. It's all crazy. But that game is on the road because the schedule for the Blazers, if you haven't been paying attention here, is really kind of weird this week. So they had the home game today. They go on the road to face the Clippers on Tuesday. They come back to face the Jazz on Friday, then go back to Los Angeles to play the Lakers on Sunday, then come back home on Thursday. And in between those, that Laker game and that Thursday game back home, there's 2 games that they don't even know who they're playing and where they're playing because they're NBA Cup games that will be added. What a weird little scheduling chunk of the season. I don't get it, but I guess we'll figure it out here in the long run. But 7:30 tip-off on Tuesday, meaning game day will start at 5:30, and then Chad will have your post-game show there, your pregame show at 6:30. Travis Demers will be on the call right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio, 620. Once again, final score from Moda Center. Blazers fall to the Dallas Mavericks, 137-131. For the boss man, Chad Doing, for the crazy man, Michael Shacker, for the guy who sweated bullets today and has to go home and put on more deodorant before he goes to bed because he sweated so much, Brendan Slaughter. I am Chris Burkhardt. Rip City, you guys have been awesome. I'll talk to you on Tuesday.